So, do you play the lottery at all?
Ugh, you know what? I have the weirdest I don't know why I feel so weird about buying a lottery ticket. So I have, and I feel like I want to, and then just this act of going into the gas station and buying a lottery ticket, I feel it's out of my element.
Out of your element. That's so funny. I really don't like to do it because I don't ever have cash on me, and you can't use a credit card, so I'm not getting any points, and if I lose, then I'm just basically losing money, and I just can't wrap my head around spending money to lose it
Yeah,
with the very small potential possibility of winning.
I
I'm not a
know.
gambler in general.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If in the past had gone to the casino, it would just be, "Okay, here's my entertainment budget," but same, I just expect I'm gonna lose it, so I probably would never win anyway.
Oh, right, because of your mindset going into it, you're not even setting yourself up for success anyway.
Exactly, but my sister's fiancé, this dude has it down. He's been manifesting winning the lottery for years. He, like, has the lawyer on speed dial that he's gonna call. I'm like, "Hold on. Why do you need to call a lawyer?" She's like, "'Cause people come after you asking for donations, and you have to have that stuff locked down."
It's
I'm
so
like,
true.
"Golly."
I've heard that also. My husband's dad used to tell him that all the time about things. He actually found this way that he can play online, like, not online, but he can buy tickets online now. So he's been buying them online here and there when it gets up really high. And he's won, you know, $15 or whatever, but he's spending way more than that. So it's totally a crapshoot. But we have a friend who gambles and he makes a ton of money doing it. So he gets comped all the time to go to different places and, the Hard Rock or wherever else spends the most time. But some people just love it and are just good at it.
And if you're using it as an entertainment budget and you would have spent that on drinks or free food or a stay anyway, I'm like, whatever."
Yeah, for sure. But it's such I thought it was like 70%. I looked up the statistic to see, just out of curiosity, how many people that win the lottery actually do something with it or how many lose it. And 30%, originally it said 70%, but it's really like 30% of people who win the lottery will go bankrupt.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think they just don't change anything in their life and they just start spending all the money
Well, their nervous system isn't calibrated to hold that amount of wealth.
because they probably didn't do the work once they got it to hold it.
Well, and it makes sense that now all of a sudden they're like, "Ooh, I gotta get rid of this," because their subconscious mind is telling them, "This isn't safe. We've never had this type of security or abundance." And so they're kind of sabotaging themselves without really knowing it,
Oh, that's so interesting.
right?
Yeah. Because nobody plays thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna win and then I'm gonna sabotage myself out of it all."
Of course not. But it's this idea of this energetic baseline, and whether we win the lottery or not, we're all having this level, right? That, of course, we have these up and down and we have these waves, but we're all hanging around the same frequency.
It makes sense. Honestly, the body has a set point also, right? So that's why a lot of people yo-yo diet, right? They do a diet for a little while and they lose 5 pounds and then they gain 5 pounds and they just kind of are always in that like 3 to 5 pound, maybe even within 5 to 10 pound like fluctuation because the body has a comfort like set point that even for me, I'll get super lean for a show to compete. But then afterwards, even if I'm kind of eating like shit, which I have been lately, I don't know why. Um, I still pretty much am at the same place always.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot for me to get super lean, but it's then just getting, like, normal like I am now, that's just, like, my set point. My body's happy here, but it's harder to maintain the super, super lean for me.
Yeah. Well, then don't you use that in your coaching? Doesn't it give people kind of a peace of mind? Like, I use it as our frequency as far as what's gonna happen. For instance, when people are fearing some people have this irrational fear of the rug being pulled out from under them, and they're gonna lose everything, and their husband's gonna leave them, and they're gonna be living in their mom's basement, and it's just it doesn't work like that.
Well, how does it work?
Well, of course, you're going up and down around this line, but your frequency can't go from living in this $500,000 house and having a husband that loves you and all the way plummet. Maybe if you murdered someone or something that completely affected your frequency, but that's just not how energy works. If you even think of a sound current, in order to get to another note, something drastic has to happen. You're not playing the same instrument.
Right. Oh, that's so fascinating to think of like that.
Well, and it's also why when you're raising your frequency, people fall out of your life.
Okay, that makes complete sense because I feel like I've been experiencing that for years in different forms. And in the beginning, it's sad because you're like, gosh, how come I'm not friends with that person? I've known them forever. I love that person. And your feeling for them or your love for them doesn't change, right? It's just that it just kind of naturally falls off.
Yeah, because as you're raising your consciousness and doing these mind, body, soul expansion, your frequency is rising. And if they're not rising with you at some point, these frequencies can't coexist. And you'll also notice it when you try to hang on and you're hanging out with those people and maybe they complain all the time. And then one of them, right? So we can't coexist at these various frequencies. So either the person who's vibrating higher is going to suck down, which unfortunately generally happens, or, they might rise up and meet you.
Which I think is less likely in most cases,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But sometimes it's a immediate turnoff. Like, even for me, not to take it back to competing again, but when I'm competing, a lot of people don't wanna be around me, and they inviting me to do stuff. And I'm still super fun. I will still go out to dinner. I will still even go to parties. I don't just stop my life because I'm not drinking or because I'm not eating certain things. I still will go and do all the fun things. But it's like they can't have fun knowing that I'm not drinking or I'm not eating exactly how they are, and so they just won't invite me.
Oh, do
And then
you
so now I'm not friends with a whole lot of people that I used to be friends with just because of that.
Do you also think this has something to do with your behavior triggering them or you know what I mean? Like they maybe want to be able to show up like that or you know?
I don't know, I don't think I've ever thought of it that deeply, except that in the beginning, I was just really bummed because I don't know why I'm not getting invited to do stuff anymore, but I think also it makes people feel maybe even a little bit insecure because they can't even do the simple thing, like commit to the simple thing of maybe drinking water first every day, let alone drop like 8% body fat, you know? I don't know, I think discipline just can irritate people or it can inspire them, and I think the majority of people, it's irritating.
Although there is such an interesting correlation between drinking and going out and it's so wired in our minds. Like for instance, when I stopped drinking so much because I'm a sommelier and I worked in the restaurant industry. And so your girl used to drink a lot. And at some point, probably after I turned 30 or had kids, I just realized that this rubber band effect, this bring back to my normal baseline frequency or happiness or energy level took days. And so it almost became not worth it because every time I drink, I realize, okay, I'm not going to feel back to my normal self for 2 or 3 days. Is this glass of wine really worth it? And
Totally, no, it's not, because I have totally experienced that. It literally is such a mind thing where, because I feel that way too. Am so just blah, and then it's
I,
negative mindset about a thing, and then there's, like, this weird guilt shame cycle that no one else cares whether that I drank, but it's, like, in my head, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I drank like that again," and I think for me, it comes from going out sober so many times when I was competing and everyone else was drinking heavily and being like, "Is that what I look like?
ooh,
I'm good not drinking anymore." Not to
well,
say that I don't still drink every once in a while, and if I do drink, I usually have enough to where I'm feeling a little silly, and that's the whole point, right? But I do it knowing that I'm still only gonna have probably 2 or 3 because somehow I can manage that the next day versus if I just get retarded and don't remember anything.
Right, and don't get me wrong, drinking is so fun. And then that's the thing is you correlate celebrating or going out with your friends with drinking, and that almost becomes what you look forward to versus the wedding or the birthday party. It's like the act of drinking, and it took me so many times of actually showing up somewhere and not drinking for that not to be the thing that I looked forward to, and I still feel it hanging on.
Well, as long as I can remember, everything my parents did, every celebration, everything was always based around alcohol consumption. So I don't think it's weird that we have this deep programming about, oh, we go to birthday parties and don't drink. Oh, who's going to go to a bachelorette party and not drink? Now, granted, there's times when you just do, right? But ultimately, I've had just as much fun going and doing the same things sober as I have drinking. The only difference is that I don't feel like shit the next day and I remember everything.
Same. It's so awesome when you get to have those experiences.
It is.
And then you start collecting the evidence of actually it's not the alcohol that made it fun. It was just me and my friends and whatever we were doing.
Yes, which is really fun to realize how fun you are without a substance.
Yeah. Well, and the alcohol itself, of course, it affects us physiologically. And I don't know what it does to our cells and our digestion and all of these things, but it's also a frequency. You're inviting this depressive frequency into your body. And if our bodies are our temples, what do you think that's going to do? This is proving your point of then, oh, I'm feeling depressed or I'm not having energy or you're just kind of blah. You want to Netflix and chill. You want to eat Chinese food. It's not you. You're literally vibrating this other frequency that you invited into your body. That's the alcohol frequency, not the Heather Smith or Christine Dunn frequency.
Yeah, or the frequency of consciousness, because really, like, our names are not even who we are.
Well, yeah.
We'll
So
never
if we
know.
going deeper. Exactly. So if we are source and then we're allowing in this substance that's, yeah, it's crazy.
I know, it tweaks the whole thing, but that just goes to show how deeply programmed, even if you think back to COVID, everything was shut down except for basically liquor stores and bars, and you could get booze to go.
I know, right?
That was never a thing.
It's interesting you brought that up though, because also illness has its own frequency.
Of course.
And so when you're getting a bug, you're also, yes, of course, it's doing these things to your body and your immune system's attacking and all of these other things. But you're running this frequency in your body that is the bug. So you're not operating at your source, at your pure baseline.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, I don't know what it does to the body or whatever, but in the body, it basically shuts everything down because the body has to go all in on getting rid of this poison. So if you eat a bunch, which a lot of people get drunk and wanna eat a bunch, that's the quickest way to gain weight because the body systems all shut down when there's alcohol in the system. So if you're eating and drinking, then I wanna say it's, like, up to 24, it takes 12 hours until, like, your last drink. So 12 to 24 hours, it's something like that. So that means that for that 24 hours, basically, we'll just say you're only trying to get to digest that alcohol to get it out of your system. Everything else is stored as fat.
And what a crazy dichotomy because you feel like, oh, I'm really wasted. I need to go home and eat some bread or some carbs so I don't feel like shit tomorrow.
But it does work.
It does.
It soaks everything up, but it's also being like stored in your body. So if you're so for tip of the day, I guess we'll say for anyone who's listening, if you do like to drink and you don't want to give it up, at the very least, cut your carbs out when you're drinking. So just stick to protein. Right. And turn your vape off.
It reminded me of those reels where it's like, no one done.
Totally. No one. Nobody ever.
Don't eat carbs when you're drinking.
Yeah, right. You're welcome.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Back to the lottery because I heard a study recently and I think it's fascinating. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so they did this study on a bunch of people that had won the lottery, and a bunch of people that became paralyzed. So, two opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
How do you even come up with those 2 that you're gonna compare, though? That is very strange.
Okay, true. Backtrack. So,
Okay.
we're talking about this psychology term called affective forecasting.
Okay.
And this has to do with the gut feeling and making decisions based on what we know to be intuition, but in the psychology world, they're calling a gut feeling.
Okay.
So we have this mechanism called affective forecasting where we overestimate how happy we're going to be from a positive experience or how sad we're going to be from a negative experience.
Okay.
So you think all my problems will be solved if I win the lottery and I'm going to be so happy, or when that guy asked me out on a date or whatever.
Yeah.
Or going back to some of those scenarios where people are fearing the rug being pulled out from underneath them. Oh, if I lose my job, I'm going to be devastated. And so then we have all this anxiety because it's giving it power. Okay, so in an effort to figure out what this mechanism is, they took this study of the people that won the lottery and the people that became paralyzed. And after a specific amount of time, these people leveled out in their emotion where the people that were paralyzed weren't actually as depressed as you would expect them to be. And people that won the lottery weren't actually as happy as you thought they would be. They returned to their energetic baseline.
Oh, the body has a baseline too. That's why people yo-yo diet,
Yep.
because the body has a place where it's really comfortable. It's the same kind of idea. So no matter how hard you diet or how much you don't diet, you probably always, like, have a basic weight that you kinda stay at.
It's so fascinating. So, how can we use this information to get better, be better, accomplish what we want to accomplish?
Oh, I would love to know.
Well, it reminded me of this exercise that I sometimes take people through. And maybe it'd be fun for the listeners to hit save on this one because it's so powerful. And it's this idea of when you're fearing something in the future. And all this is, right, is forecasting something that you're actually creating. Like you have no idea if this is or isn't going to happen.
Well, no, right? Because what we think, we become, and our thoughts create our reality.
Right. And so by putting all this power and all this anxiety and all this overthinking about this made up scenario that might happen in our future, probably way more likely to come true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when people are having fear about this thing, I always say, okay, let's go down the fear rabbit hole. Let's go down the worst case scenario rabbit hole. So say you're worried about, I don't know, losing your job because your boss gave you a bad review. And so you're stuck on that, right? So it's like, okay, so you get fired. That's one bad thing. Oh, and then you can't pay your rent. Okay, that sucks. Oh, now your partner's going to leave you because you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Okay, now you're single. Now, right? So you just go down every worst case scenario. And at the end of it, what you realize is you're resourced to fuck and you're not going to die. Like, you're gonna figure it out. You might switch career paths, you might live with a friend for a few months, but it's not a life or death scenario.
Yeah.
And it also takes you to the end result of this idea of the affective forecasting, where you think that thing is gonna make you so depressed and it's life or death and it's the worst thing ever. But now you got to this end point and everything's leveled out. And you're back at your energetic baseline. So what are you actually worried about?
Well, and that just reminds me that the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist. The only moment that matters is right now. So when we're focusing on things that we can't control, that's what causes the anxiety, is trying to control the future, but we just need to focus on right now. So let me ask you this. This is kind of a little bit of a shift in perspective, but if you're on your baseline, how do you get to the next level baseline? right? So as you're evolving in your spiritual evolution, we'll call it, like for me, in my younger years, in the amount of alcohol I consumed and whatever, my baseline was probably like down here, right? But I would say that now that I really don't drink often, my frequency is significantly higher. My baseline is shifted.
Right. Well, and this is the cleanse, right? So you're cleansing your body by not drinking, or, for some people, it might be taking a drug, maybe it's even what they're eating.
Maybe it's who they're hanging around.
Well, exactly, because then that's energetic. Like, we talk about what we're consuming, but it's not only what we're eating or taking, it's also the energy we're consuming and what we're surrounding ourselves from.
The music that we listen to, the TV shows that we watch, the people that we surround ourselves with, the jobs that we have, whether we hate them or love them, or how they leave us feeling at the end of the day. It's all part of it, right?
Exactly. And then all of this incoming information is affecting what? Our mind. And so that's also secretly, but not so secretly, showing up in the thoughts that we're having
Subconsciously, yeah.
and the stories we're playing.
Mm. So if I'm playing the lottery and I win, and now I'm at this different financial level, how do I stay there? What does someone do to stay at that level? They're gonna have to do some kind of work, right? You're not just gonna be like, "Oh, I'm here now." You don't just win the lottery and now I'm here forever.
Right.
Gotta
Well,
work 'cause there's a gap.
the first step in everything is awareness. I honestly was thinking if that person had listened to this episode, they would already have the awareness. Holy shit, I won the lottery. I might lose it. Subconsciously, I might sabotage myself because of my nervous system and because what I'm calibrated and because of my energetic baseline. And so, what are these things I can do to cleanse my mind, body, and soul so I can operate at this frequency and operate as someone who has $143 million, right? How do I make the decisions based on that person versus my subconscious programming, which isn't ready for that?
Don't you think it's even fascinating that somebody that's way down here on the scale even has the ability to win the lottery that is at a completely different frequency?
Ooh, that's so interesting because I feel like there's all these different amazing sparkles in reality that maybe this is something karmic, right? Like maybe they incarnated here and we're like, I'll live this life in poverty, but when I'm 39 years old, it's all going to pay back. Or maybe, and these things can shift in the quantum realm in real time. So maybe what we consider future then has done all this work. So they won the lottery. They listened to this podcast. They did all their nervous system regulation work. They raised their frequency. They quit listening to all the noise and they healed themselves, which actually healed their past self and their past lives and the past generations because everything's happening all at once.
Right. I understand that it's all happening at once, but it's still such a weird thing to say and be like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that's happening." All the
Because
dimensions are happening at the same time. It's just and you're changing in and out of it as you surround yourself. Like, right now, your husband is not in the room with you. So, really, technically, he doesn't exist in this specific dimension right now.
right. Ooh, have you heard? Okay, well, they're starting to scientifically prove this because I know that when we're talking about all this, some people might be like, what the fuck? What are you guys talking about? So stay away. Because time is this human construct. It's how it makes sense to us.
Yeah.
But they're starting to scientifically prove these things, for instance, going back to the gut feeling. Because they're saying that when you have that gut feeling of, oh no, something bad's going to happen, it's actually a somatic cue from your future self, from this timeline that is happening in this quantum realm at the same time, that's hinting to your present body like, "Oh shit, that's a bad idea. I see the something bad that can happen from that."
And your gut is your second brain.
Well, yeah, and they're connected.
So, does that have anything to do with, for instance, this morning I went to my friend's coffee shop, and it's been a long time since I've been there because it's in a totally different part of town. But when I got there, I realized, oh gosh, she opened a new location. So I went to the new location because the old location was closed. And when I walked in, I had this immediate rush of emotions. And I almost like I started tearing up. And I just was so excited for her success. She moved here from another country. Her dream was to open a coffee shop. And not only did she open it, now 6+ years later, she's in this new beautiful space. And I just had this overwhelming, and I don't really know her. I just know her from going in there and grabbing a coffee and chatting here and there. But I feel so deeply connected to her for some reason and just so proud of her for following her dream and having success with it.
Oh.
Is that related?
Oh,
It's
it's
that.
beautiful, and I think this is the exact example of your soul speaking through, yes, your somatic cues and also your emotion, because our soul can speak through these things so much easier than through our brain, which has all this programming and gets in the way, and you just felt something that your soul was like, "Yes, she deserves this. Everyone deserves this. This is the dream. This is what life's about," and you could feel it. I'm getting the
I
tingles.
did. I just got it in my head too, like super tingly.
And then that's the other somatic clue is why the goosebumps tell you you're onto something. This is truth because it's this subtle energy and our body is tapping into it where the hairs on our skin stand up and our brain can't consciously think about it, but our body's like, yes.
It's so magical.
I know.
It happens to me a lot though. In a lot of different scenarios where I will just see somebody or I just get really excited and so overwhelmingly happy and proud for them. It's like I always think it sounds weird when I say it, but it's true. I'm so proud for and of you. Like I'm proud for who you are and like what you've built, but also of you because of like the human that you are. I don't know. And it just it gives me this emotional thing. But I think that kind of almost goes back to what Bashar says. He says, follow the thing that excites you for as long as it excites you without any attachment to the end point or what might come from it. And that's when the magic starts to happen and the doors start to open. And I
Yeah.
think that's that resonance, that acknowledgement, like you didn't know what it was going to be like moving here from Brazil, but you did it. And not only did you do it, you're doing it at a high level and then giving back to your community and just doing all these really beautiful things. And it's that deep recognition.
Yeah. It's the soul's dream, right? We can, in human terms, relate it to the American dream. They did the thing, but you are feeling this deep emotion for the soul's dream or like what the soul came here. And you have been very focused on this divine oneness and that we are all source and we are all connected. So it makes sense that you're feeling this so deeply for other people that you're getting the visceral reaction for yourself.
Oh, that's really beautiful when you think of it like that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for that perspective.
If we could all tap into this, how supportive would everyone be of each other?
Well, it would be a completely different world, right? Because then instead of being jealous or whatever, because surely there's other people that have gone into that same coffee shop and been jealous, right? That she's having the success. And some people see the success and be like, oh, well, it was easy for her, or who knows what story people say. But I don't have that anymore. Maybe I did at some point, maybe in my younger years, I might have had a little bit of that. But now it just feels like this I just want somebody to pay me to be their hype man. To really genuinely a friend of mine just wrote a book based on her experience in healing herself of cancer and started a foundation and all of these really beautiful things now are opening up from it, but she did it out of a place of passion, and you just don't know. And all of us are so busy, busy, busy that no one is still long enough to actually even know what they're passionate about.
Well, and it reminded me what we talked about in the mastermind of creation for creation's sake. And this is also the soul's purpose and soul's journey is like we came here as humans to create and give. And if we're always worried about, oh, I need to do this because I think it's what people want or need, that's not the energy that's going to make all your dreams come true. But when you're creating for yourself and for the pure joy of creation, that's the magnetism, that's the frequency that rewards you wildly. It's fabulous.
It's so true. A perfect example is I started teaching yoga again. And I haven't done it for a long time, but I just was feeling this pull and I was going to the studio locally. And then one day we were talking about something and he's like, "Hey, I need a sub for Tuesday if you want to, pick that up." So I picked up the class. And then he said, "All right, well, I have a Monday opening and a Tuesday opening. They're yours." And I was like, "Okay." And I have to tell you, I love it so much. It is this creative outlet that really fuels my soul. I don't know why, but it is so much fun, and I taught on Monday and then again on Tuesday, and for the whole rest of the day, it was like I was buzzing, like I had just come out of one of my friend's Kundalini activations or something. I mean, I was just like, it felt so good, and all I did was just teach a yoga flow, but it's flow. So it's not just a yoga class, it's literally mobility and strength and yoga in one, and it's completely embodies me. So
Uh,
amazing.
Oh, I want that class. That sounds perfect.
Well, I'm gonna start recording some, I think, because I think that everybody could use it, and who knows what's gonna come from it. I don't know, but I'm doing it because it's something that excites me and it feels good, and I'm just gonna do it for as long as it feels good.
Love it. And then it brings up that point of we also need to be so understanding of our brain, body, and soul that when you get to a certain point of understanding, like, oh, I'm doing this because it's fun, but there might come up a time when you're like, oh, I don't know. And you have to be able to discern, is this fear because I'm about to make it big? Or is this fear of being seen? Or is this something that's sabotaging me? Or is this actually because my creativity has moved on and I'm supposed to go on another path? And you are the only one that will know that.
Yeah, and surely you have some exercises that you would lead people through to, in that scenario.
Well, yes. And it also goes along this idea of our dreams and how they can change.
Well, isn't that just brilliant to share? Because isn't that so true that as we evolve, what is important to us changes?
Right. And our frequency changes, and the people in our life change, and what we're creating might have shifted.
Which is what we talked about several episodes ago about you were in the food and beverage industry and you were climbing up that whole ladder and got your sommelier and then you even took that to next level, next level, next level, doing all these events. And then it was like, oh wait, I don't want to be that anymore. I want to do this now
Right.
with your quantum healing and your Akashic records reading. And it's like, well, wait, what if both of these could exist?
And sometimes the reason you had that prior experience is because now you're in the rooms that are open or need your medicine or need this new version of yourself that aren't getting access to it. And so everything you do and everything you create and every move you make is still leading you to the North Star. It's just your perception of what the North Star is might shift based on where you are in physical time now.
Oh, I love that.
So all you really need to do is the very next step. And so we get so stuck as humans in this, what's my purpose? I need to figure it out. We have these existential crises because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
See, I've been there, totally been there,
Same. I mean, we probably go through this like at least once a month.
at least.
And all you need to know is I'm following what lights me up and I know the next step. And then once you get there, okay, what's my next step? And you can
If you
ask
don't know if you
yeah,
don't know the next step, that's okay too. And I think being okay with and curious about what the next step could be.
Right. Well, and the next step doesn't have to be some big thing like creating your LLC. It might be like what you said. Oh, yeah, this sounds good. My gut says, oh, yeah, teaching another yoga class sounds fun.
Yeah.
And then, oh, yeah, I'll pick up another one. And then someone will ask you to speak at an event, and you're like, yeah, that feels good.
Yes. Yes. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll get a corporate booking or something. I mean, we just possibilities are infinite when
Right.
you are in your magic.
Yes. Creation, baby.